All right, welcome to Moses Tech Fix Fundamental Skills in Microsoft Excel. Okay, let's get started. So I come to the search and then I look for the Excel right here. And then when I have it, remember I told you this is the first loading page. It shows which workbooks or worksheets have you been working on. But for us always, if you do not use the template, if you do not like the templates right here, we always go for the blank workbook or the blank document. Okay, so we have seen a lot, so many fundamentals right in here, and today we are going to look at our last part of the fundamentals, and then we shall have to move on to another office type, which is Microsoft PowerPoint. And guys, I'm always waiting for your questions below the comment sections, right? So, right. Last time we saw the data tab, and then we saw the formulas and everything here. So today we are going to see we are going to look at the review tab, the view tab, and we shall not look at the automate, and we shall not look at the developer, but we shall look at the help, and we shall not look at the power pivot. So all these ones that we are not going to look at today, they require some programming, which will take me a full course. So, but today, since our focus is so much on the fundamental basics that can push you into the world of Microsoft Office 365. So the first thing is we are going to check the review tab. So now when we go to the review tab, um, there are some there are some specific things that we are supposed to focus on, like which by default someone should know. So for example, we have the spelling. The spelling is a program that helps you check if you have a correct spelling in the document. For example, if I say I need my spelling to be a car and I write it as a rack, when I come back here to check for the spelling, you see I will have suggestions right here. We'll have suggestions, race, rack, RASI, ACK. So you can even go further and scroll down to see which one would you prefer. So for example, let me say I prefer race. I click in the race, and then after race, I change, right? I change. So the moment I change, you'll see my word will change to race, which has been a wrong spelling, and then the spelling system will let me know that you are all good to go. All right. So that is how we determine spellings, and then we also have the thesaurus. So this one also it determines which it's like a simple explanation, a simple reference of what you would like. It is also like a spelling and grammar, but this one tries to bring out the meaning of what you have tried to type. Okay, and then if you need run, you can select run. If you need a chain, you can select chain. So there are very many. There are very many in here. And then we do not use it so much. So we have the workbook statistics. So workbook statistics, we don't use it so much because it only shows you how you how your workbook is doing, how many words you have, blah blah blah. So for example, when I click, you see the current sheet, the end of sheet, tables, no formulas, sheets, one sheet, things like that. It shows you like the analysis of the workbook. And then another thing we can check here is always if you have an Excel which is in a different language, you can always translate, right? You can always translate. So you click in the word, and then Excel will be able to translate it for you. But this one will work when you have a connection of the internet. Otherwise, if you do not have connection right here like me, it will not translate your Excel, right? So don't be scared even if you receive an Excel that is not in English. You can translate it. Okay. So another thing we can focus on here. Remember, we saw the comments in Microsoft Word. So these are usual things. You click on the comment, and then you you comment about something. For example, write the let the first letter be a capital letter. Right, this is a comment, and then you send. So it will appear with a small color up here. So when the user hovers the mouse to that color, they will see the comment, but when they remove their mouse, they will not see the, the comment. So if you have a previous comment you want to see, that is the button. If you have a next comment you want to see, this is a button. If you want to show all the comments, this is the button, and you will have them on your right pane, specifying even where the location of the comment, which is a D11 cell. Okay, and yeah, so from that we also have the notes. You can take a new note. So this is like if you are working on a project, you can always take notes in that cell, and then you can say you can just write something, any notes that you wish to write, like a notebook. Okay, so you can always and always take notes in this in the Excel workbook, whereby if you come back and hover your mouse right to the notes color, you will see that you have the kind of simple notes that you took. So it doesn't open up like this on the Excel, otherwise it will be obstructing your work. But when you type or when you create a note and you remove your mouse, you will see that you also have a small color in the top right. But when you bring back your cursor on that cell, you will see that you have the note. And when you bring back your cursor right here, you see that you have a comment, right? So that is how you can make notes in an Excel. And then we also have protection, these ones. If you want, you can protect your worksheet, or if you want, you can protect the workbook. Okay, so if you want to protect your worksheet, it means that if you send it to someone, they cannot edit, they cannot change anything. You protect it. It's like you lock it, right? So, for example, the password to unprotect sheet, let me say it is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then here you allow users of this workbook to select locked cells, select unlocked cells. So you tick what you want them to do, all right? Tick what you want them to do, all right? And then after you press OK, so you enter the password to proceed, 1, 2, 3, and then you click OK. So it was 1, 2, 3. I should make it 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, if the password is not the same, it will not work, right? So things like that. Now, when you give this sheet to someone, or when you give this Excel to someone, they cannot type in anything. They will be told that the sheet is protected, and if they try to draw or insert anything in the sheet, it will not be accepted. So they will tell them the sheet is protected, and you may be requested to enter the password. All right. So if they know the password, they will just come to unprotect sheet, and then they put their password, which is 1, 2, 3, the one you gave them, and then the sheet will be unlocked. So they will be able to write anything that they want, right? So that is how you can protect your worksheet in an Excel. And then it is still the same case. You can protect the workbook. So you put, you can also, excuse me, put your password. So please make sure you remember your password, and it should be identical. You don't need to choose a password which is not identical. And I many times recommend numbers because they are the easiest one to read. Otherwise, if you mix it with letters and then symbols, it might be difficult for you because here you do not have a provision to see your password. So numbers, they are very important because they are identical. They are very clean and they are good to understand. So for example, if I want to protect the workbook and I put 1, 2, 3 and then I click OK, and then I also put re-enter my password. So when I'm re-entering my password, I don't need to put 1, 2, 3, 4. And yet in the start I used 1, 2, 3. No. Or I don't need to put 1, 2. No. The password is not identical. So I have to put 1, 2, 3. And then the workbook will be protected. Okay. So whoever comes to whoever I share with my workbook, they will have to first come and unprotect this workbook, and then they will be able to use it. All right. So yeah, those are many some of the few simple steps that we always have to focus on in this tab, the review tab. And then when we go to another tab, which is the view, this is a basically dealing with the workbook once again itself. And there are very few things that we work with here. So for example, the page is normal, that's right. We don't need a page break preview, we don't need it. We don't need the layout now. And then we don't need the custom views. You can switch modes if you like, depending on what you prefer. You can switch modes to dark and white. All right, you can switch modes, and then we don't need the navigation pane. And the zooming, it always has to be 100. And when you see this zooming right here, it's the same as in the Microsoft Word, the one which is below here. So it always has to be 100 down here. It is the same. So the only thing that we may focus here is to freeze pens right here. It's the freezing pens. So for example, when you click here and you freeze the first column, when you click on freezing the first column, you will see that when you scroll to the right, the first column remains where it is supposed to be. Okay, when you scroll on the right, the first column remains where it is supposed to be. And then when you come and click on the freeze the top, when you freeze the top, you will see that the first row, and you scroll down, the first row remains where it is. So there is a gap in between the first row and the second row when you are scrolling. Okay. Then after that, you come back right here and unfreeze the pens. When you unfreeze the pens, everything goes back to normal. Okay. So yeah, that is how we deal with the freezing and the unfreezing of pens, and it is one of the most common used trick right here. Though we do not focus on it so much, but it is one of the most used tricks right here in the Excel. Okay. Then unless if you guys will have questions for me down there in the comments, but yeah, let's move on to another one. So we have automate. This is basically for for programming when you have when you need a new script and you want to code the editor, so things like that. It's something to deal with a bit of programming, and then many times, as you see, it will require you internet to use. And then the developer mode also requires some programming whereby you know some Visual Basics. You code, you do some programming right here, and then you also you have the to enable the macros. Um, I'm I'm not sure uh, if any of you has ever seen. You remember the days when you were registering for TIN numbers, personal TIN numbers, from the Excel sheet you were using from the is it from the URA for registering 14 numbers. So that Excel, if you remember, it had the macros. So you were supposed to enable the macros in that Excel. So such kind of an example, if you still remember, it will be able to show you how the macros looks like. So this is all programming, and if you guys prefer, we can look at it at a certain date. Yes, and then the last one is we have the help. So this is basically to ask what you want. For example, if you click in this question mark and you don't have internet access, it will not help. And then you can contact the Excel support team. You can give feedback. You can show the training, things like that. All right. So please, guys, I'm always waiting for your questions below the comment. And these are fundamental skills that everyone must know. All right, they are fundamentals that everyone must know. So thank you so much for watching, and see you in our next office application, which is the Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. Bye bye.